Stop going out on dates like a detective. Start going on dates more like Mr. Rogers. I'll explain everything. Stay with me. So when was the last time you went on a first date just to have some fun? Not to evaluate him, not to build a case against him and why he's not good enough for you, just to enjoy a fellow human being. If you can't remember, this episode is for you, girl. Welcome to the High Value Woman Playbook. Hey, I'm Amanda Carroll. So I had this client, we call her Jess for this podcast today. She came to me because she couldn't get past the first few weeks with any man she ever matched with on the apps. Like nothing ever worked. And she's like, why? She realized she had to stop blaming the apps and all men. She had to change them. So I asked her to walk me through what happens when she matches with someone. She goes, well, first I look at all his photos, right? Then I check his bio for any red flags. Then if he texts me and there's a typo, I'm immediately wondering if he's an idiot. If he takes too long to respond, I think he's a player. If he responds too fast, then I think he's desperate. She hadn't been on a single date yet, and she had already put 4 men on trial. That's what we're talking about today. And I have a play that's going to help you change everything and stop your mindset. I'm Amanda Carroll. I'm your dating coach. I'm an entrepreneur, former national radio host, and the woman who spent years figuring out how to stop getting in her own way when it comes to love so she can help you do the same thing faster now. This podcast is your playbook. Every single episode is another play for you to run in your life. It's a real strategy, 0 flops, so you can stop settling, stop shrinking, or worse, giving up on love altogether, and finally get the life and the love that you actually deserve. And if this is your first time here, just think of me as your personal dating coach, okay? And this show as your playbook. Every week, I drop a new play. You learn it, you run it, you win. Welcome to the team. Before we dive in, quick favor, if this show has ever made you feel differently about your dating life in a good way, on what you deserve, will you hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes and leave a review right now? It takes 30 seconds and it means that the right woman will find this show when they need it most, like you did. You could be the reason someone's entire life changes by sharing this. All right, let's run the play. Today's play is called the Mr. Rogers play. Did you watch that? Like I grew up watching Mr. Rogers. And I want to start by asking you something real honest. When is the last time you went on a first date just to have some fun? That was your only intention. Not to evaluate him, not to see if he has the right career trajectory, that's a hard word to say, or the right communication style or the right attachment pattern, not to collect evidence for a case that you're building in your head, just to go meet a human being you haven't met yet and see if you enjoy their company. For a lot of women I work with, they can't remember the last time that happened. I get it. Because somewhere along the way, after heartbreak, after being blindsided, maybe cheated on, after investing in the wrong person way too many times for way too long, dating stopped being something fun that you looked forward to, and it became something that you had to protect yourself from. I'm here to make it fun again, okay? Should be fun. I completely understand, though. I really do, because I was you. Today, I'm going to show you how that protection, though, is actually the thing that's keeping you from the right man. Love is keeping him from finding you. And then I'm going to give you the play that changes it. So I want to talk to you about that client of mine. We're going to call her Jess, okay? Jess is smart. She's so successful. She's genuinely beautiful inside and out and really funny. And she came to me because she kept matching with men on the apps and things would fizzle before they ever really started, right? So I asked her to walk me through her process. What actually happens when she matches with someone? And she started talking and I just listened. She said, okay, so first I look at all his photos really carefully. Then I read his bio for red flags. Then when he sends his first message, if there's a typo, I'm immediately wondering if he's not that smart. If he takes a while to respond, I think he might be a player. If he responds really fast, I wonder if he's too available. If he asks a generic question, I think he's lazy. If he asks something too specific, I wonder if he's been researching me and he's a stalker. I stopped her right there. I said, Jess, has this man done anything to hurt you yet? She goes, no, we haven't even met. I said, right. But he's already guilty until proven innocent. She got real quiet. Because here's what's happening. And I see this with so many of my clients, maybe you too. She'd been hurt. And her nervous system learned to protect her by scanning for threats constantly. And she wants to get married. She wants to start her family. She's in a hurry. So every text was a clue. Every response time was data. Every interaction was an opportunity to catch him before he could catch her off guard or waste her precious time. She wasn't really looking for a connection. She was looking for evidence that he wasn't the right one. And the men on the other end, they couldn't feel the warmth of a woman who was excited to meet them. They could only feel the weight of someone who was waiting for them to mess up. And one by one, the men disappeared. Not because Jess wasn't wonderful and beautiful and successful, because she just never let them meet that wonderful version of her. They only met the prosecutor. So let me tell you about someone who had this completely figured out, though, and we can learn from Mr. Rogers. Not saying date Mr. Rogers, okay? Or someone like him. Just bear with me. I'm saying date like him. I know what you're thinking, Amanda. What does a man in a cardigan talking to puppets have to do with my love life? Everything. He has everything to do with it. Didn't you grow up watching him too and learning about love and relationships by watching Mr. Rogers? He walked into his neighborhood every single day with that same energy, that same warmth. He's just genuinely curious with zero agenda of the people he was meeting and introducing his viewers to. He was not evaluating or judging the people he met or deciding whether Daniel Tiger had the right long-term potential. He was just there, fully present, genuinely glad to be in the room and be helpful and warm. And here's what that created. Everyone around Mr. Rogers felt loved and completely safe. They felt seen. They felt like they were the most interesting person in the world to him in that moment. And that feeling of being truly met by another human being is one of the most powerful things that exists. That is what I want for you to do on a first date. By the way, this works for men and women. Men do this too. Constantly evaluate a woman. This is not about the cardigan. It's not about the cardigan. It's about the energy you're bringing on the date. I want you to walk into that coffee shop or lounge in the way that Mr. Rogers walked into his neighborhood. Warm, curious, happy to be there, with absolutely zero investment in how it turns out. Now, I'm not asking you to abandon your discernment. No, girl. I'm not asking you to ignore red flags. I am not asking you to settle for less than you deserve by one single inch. I'm asking you to change the job description of a first date. The job of a first date is not to determine if this man is going to hurt you. The job of a first date is to go make a friend and have some fun. That's the whole job. That is it. If he passes the friend test, if you genuinely enjoy being around him, if the conversation flows, if you leave feeling better than when you arrived, great. There's a second date and maybe a third. And then that's where real discernment happens. But if you go in as the prosecutor, you will convict men who never committed a crime. They're falsely accused because of what your ex did. And you'll wonder for the rest of your life why the right one never ever showed up. Now I want to tell you about another client. We'll call her Mary. Mary is extraordinary. She built her own business from scratch. She is financially independent in a way that most people, men or women, will never experience. Girl drives a Bentley. And she came to me because she could not find a man who was her equal. Okay, I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing about a story that I just remembered. When I first met Mary, she came to me and she admitted that she typically takes Ubers to all of her dates because she's sick and tired of men freaking out over her car. And I thought, okay, I see why you did that, but let's stop doing that and just date the men that don't freak out. Or if they do, hey, there's a weed out, girl. And all I could see, I knew I could help her find her equal because I could see exactly what was happening. She'd spent years attracting men who matched her on paper, but not men that really wanted to be a loving partner. The alphas, right? The risk takers, the over-the-top guys, the show-offs, the guy who also drove those kinds of cars because it fed their ego. And almost every single one of them was so obsessed with their own reflection that there was no room in the relationship for anyone else. By the way, women, we can be like this too, right? And completely overwhelm really nice guys. These men were successful, but self-absorbed and completely unavailable for a real partnership. So Mary learned to vet hard. She would walk into a first date already analyzing. What does he do? What does he drive? What does he order? How does he treat the server? Is he intimidated by me? Is he going to be able to keep up with my life? And then she met someone. We'll call him Mark. He worked in her industry. He'd noticed her professionally for a while, and she ignored him, but he asked her out anyway. And she almost said no, because on paper, he didn't match the image she had in her head of what her equal was supposed to look like. And she thought maybe he's too much. But she went. But she went in like Mary the prosecutor. Here's why. Because she believed all the bad stuff that everybody said about her. Turns out, even women in their 40s act like they're in 7th grade. They had a mutual friend, a woman. And this mutual friend constantly filled Mary with bad things about Mark. And we realized later on it's because she was the one that actually wanted to be picked by him and go out with him. But for a while, Mary believed that and told me the whole story. And I said, you know what? I'm all for believing a woman, but none of that stuff is like really bad red flags that she's saying. So why not find out on your own? You go figure out. Don't go in with all this judgment from somebody else's opinion. You find your opinion. Thank God she did. The first few dates, though, she kept waiting for the money thing to come up. Is he going to feel threatened by what I've built? She still wanted somebody to take her out to dinner and pay, right? She wanted chivalry. And one night he didn't offer to pay, and she went home spiraling. Does this mean he doesn't value me? Is this a pattern? Is this who he is? She called me ready to end the whole thing. I said, Mary, has he shown you who he is yet, or you're still waiting to catch him on doing something wrong? So we came up with a plan. She was going to stop auditioning and just start experiencing him. She was going to go on the next date as herself, the warm, funny, brilliant, curious woman she actually was, instead of a woman with a checklist. And if something actually bothered her, she was going to say it out loud like an adult instead of storing it as evidence. So just have a conversation. You guys have been dating for a while. Why can't you say, do you feel comfortable paying for me? Do you want to split things? How do you see this going in this relationship? Just ask instead of assume. So she said the money thing, and she told him she wanted to talk about how they handled that because it really mattered to her. And he appreciated it, and they figured it out. Done. And she's happy with it. You see, that's what happens when you stop building a case silently and you just start building a relationship by communicating. So Mary and Mark, they're still together. I think it's been over a year now. It is a beautiful relationship. They travel all over the world. Every once in a while, I get an amazing picture of them. I think the latest was, where was it? In Iceland, in that place where they do the mud baths. It's just beautiful. It's because she finally gave him herself. She actually showed up. She found her person in the wild, someone she had dismissed, someone who didn't match the blueprint she had been carrying around all these years because she had the right coaching on how to undo her approach. She had the right playbook, finally. And instead of guessing, she's implementing the winning plays from the High Value Women's Playbook. Without the playbook, she would have missed him entirely, because she was so busy and so focused on only looking for what was wrong. So I want to take a quick break and talk to you directly about this. If you heard yourself in Jess or in Mary, if you recognize the way you walk into dates already braced for disappointment, I want you to know that that is not a character flaw, okay? I don't blame you for that. It's just a wound, and wounds can be worked with. That's what I had to learn. I was abandoned by my ex for another woman when I had 3 kids. I did not like men for a long time, but I did the work and I healed and I learned what to look for. And that's exactly what I do in my one-on-one coaching program. It's called 5 Dates to Forever. I sit with you, I look at your specific patterns. This is not generic dating advice. It's your actual situation. And we build a real strategy together, a play-by-play for where you are right now, so you can stop repeating the same cycles and actually get somewhere. My clients find committed, high-value partners, some in months, some in weeks, because when you have the right strategy and someone in your corner who sees you clearly, everything changes faster than you think. If you are ready to stop doing this alone, the link to learn more, apply, and book your free dating strategy call is just below in the show notes. It's a real conversation. There's zero pressure, and you will leave with more clarity than you walked in with. I promise you that. So just go book your call. Click that link in the show notes. I'd love to meet you. It's completely complimentary, by the way. All right. Now, here is the playbook part, okay? Here is how I help you actually run what we're calling the Mr. Rogers play for your dating life. I want you to change how you think about the apps entirely. The apps are not a husband-finding machine. They are a friend-making machine. Your job on the apps is to build a roster of really interesting people to spend time with. That's it. You're not looking for a husband in his bio, okay? You're not looking for someone interesting. You're just looking for someone interesting enough to grab coffee with. That's it. Second, when you get to the first date, I want you to give yourself one single job. Find out if you genuinely enjoy this person's company. That's it. Not whether he could be the father of your future children, or help you father your current children, or be the husband that you desperately want in this season of your life. Not whether he checks every box. I don't care how tall he is, by the way. Doesn't really matter. Just do you. Do you like being around him? Does the conversation feel easy? Are you laughing? Are you curious about what he's going to say next? That's the friend test. And it is the only test that matters on a first date. If he passes the friend test, great. That's a win. You don't need all these extreme fireworks and butterflies. That's usually a sign of toxicity. You go home, you had a good time, and you see if he follows up. If he does, great. There's a second date, maybe a third. And that is where the real information starts to come through. That is where you use your discernment now, not in the first 30 minutes over coffee. If he doesn't pass the friend test, also great. You had a night out. You got to get dressed up. You met a human being, and you owe him and yourself nothing further. There's no case building required. There's no verdict needed. Just not a match. Next. And here's what I want you to remember when you walk into that date. Mr. Rogers never walked into his neighborhood wondering if it was going to hurt him. He walked in ready to enjoy it. He walked in curious. He walked in warm. He walked in as someone who had something to give, not someone who needed something back. That is who you are. You're not a woman who needs this date to go well. You're a woman who is generous enough to show up fully, see what happens. Go make a friend, have some fun, try a new restaurant. The rest will take care of itself. Thanks for being here today. Genuinely, thank you for trusting me with the most important decision of your life, who you decide to spend it with. I don't take a single episode that I get to experience with you for granted. So before you go, will you send this episode to someone? Right now, not later, because I don't know about you, but I never get to later. Think of the woman in your life who is dating from that place of I'm bracing for impact. The one who's exhausted, who's close to giving up. She needs this play today. Would you send it to her? And if you want to be more magnetic on your dating profile before your next first date, grab my free dating profile cheat sheet. It's in the show notes. It will show you exactly how to build a profile that attracts high-value men and keeps the clowns away from you. That link is also in the show notes. And if you're ready to stop figuring this out all on your own, book your complimentary dating strategy call with me. I'd love to meet you. Plenty of spots available for you. The link to apply and schedule is also, guess what? It's in the show notes. Just come talk to me. There's no pressure. I'm there to help you get through your block and get the relationship that you've always deserved. Thanks. I'm Amanda Carroll. This is the High Value Woman's Playbook. Now go make some friends and go get what you deserve.